Julie!
Hey, hey!
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, girl. How you doing?
Good.
Are you out of breath?
Good. Yeah, I was finishing up some stuff right before I came in, so I'm just like, okay, I'm in. In
Welcome back.
time. Yes, I'm in time. Oh my God, look, it's our logo.
Bring it up.
There it is. Jen and Julie from the block.
Yes.
So tell me, how was your weekend?
It was good. Oh my gosh, full of mommying.
Full of mommy.
Just full-time momming. Just momming so hard. What did you do? Yeah, I bet your weekend was way more eventful than my weekend, I guarantee you.
Um, Let me see. What did I do this weekend? Oh, I went to a hair salon. I found a Dominican hair salon here in Chicago.
You did?
Yes. So like, and that was like
Was
a
that
big
hard
thing
to
when
find?
there are a couple, but yes, I had to go to Humble Park for that.
Yeah.
Because not here downtown.
Yeah,
But that was
no.
like a big thing for me
It
when I
is
was
a big
moving.
thing. It is a big thing. My girl MJ Acosta, she was actually working for the NBC affiliate out here in San Diego, and she's originally from Washington Heights, but then was living in Miami, doing. She was actually one of the Dolphins cheerleaders, and then she became a sportscaster. She's fantastic, and she had the hardest time finding a Dominican hair salon out here in San Diego,
I
and
can
so
imagine. Yeah.
it's so hard, and I get it, and like it was super hard for her to find anyone who could tame the mane, and so she just went curly. She just went natural, and it's
Oh.
beautiful. She works for the 49ers now, so she's gone the
Oh
football
wow!
route, but she's
Shout out to her.
shout out to MJ. I'm gonna tweet at her right now. She's
Yeah,
great.
shout out to MJ. We've got the same initials, just reversed, and I understand your pain because it is not easy maintaining the mane. I don't know if I could go curly yet. I don't know if I'd have to do that big old chop and then go curly. I don't know if I'm ready
Yes.
for that. I don't know if I'm ready for that. But anyways, getting into our we've got a lot of really great things to talk about today. Some art,
Yep.
food, Frío-o-Caliente. and and you've got an interview with Alanna.
Yeah.
So with Alanna Rizzo, who is with the Dodgers.
Yep.
All right. So
Yeah.
I want to start off with the art that you have brought to me today
Yeah.
by an artist of the name Preston, right? S. Preston.
Yes, S. Preston. So S. Preston and I go back a few years. I initially discovered him back, I think, just before the 2016 season. And just a little bit of a background on who he is. He was a broadcaster from BC, British Columbia. He's a huge Toronto Blue Jays fan. He's Canadian, but we won't hold it against him. He lives in Orange County now, and he is a broadcaster turned graphic artist slash lifetime baseball fan. So a few years ago, he started a series called the Minimalist Ballpark series. And I fell in love with his art. I discovered his art through this series. And basically what he does, so incredibly creative, he basically takes one little piece of all the 30 iconic ballparks, and he makes these beautiful sweeping graphic art prints of these ballparks, but just kind of zeroing in on one little bit. So, for instance, take Angel Stadium. He just takes the very peak, the little red peak of the A, and on a background, just solid block colors. And you really have to be a fan of the game, of the stadium, to know which stadium he's profiling. So he has that series. He also has a mascot series where he does the same things for the mascots. And then he also has the MLB Players Association series, which is what grabbed my attention and what made me want to profile him on the show today, because last week he came out with his MLBPA, basically his best of. Each season he comes out with the players, which are voted on by the fans. And what struck me is that this year he had 4 Latino players. So he profiled Arenado, Guerrero Jr., Tatis Jr., Berrios, and Baez. And with the accent, by the way. So I know the guys last segment were talking about that. So thank you,
So
MLB.
here we've got the photo of Vladdy junior.
Mhm.
What he Did.
Yep.
So there we see the iconic Trump Tower in Toronto.
Yep, Rogers Center. Yeah, and then you've got the name and the number. And again, just a quick background on how he became licensed, because you can't really use the names in the conjunction with the stadiums unless you're licensed. So back in 2014, he got a call from MLB, and he thought it was going to be a cease and desist call. And they were going to be like shutting him down for depicting the ballparks. But it was actually them calling to say, hey, we want to license these beautiful works of art. And now you can find his artwork at team stores, at the parks, at fan stores, and online as well. If you want to check out his stuff, just to give him a shout out, it's sprestondesigns.com. And you can also find him on his Instagram at sprestondesigns, and also on Twitter at pootpoot, Pootpoot. And you could check out all of his artwork. So then in 2016, he actually got a call from the Hall of Fame. And he is a lifetime member of the Hall because they wanted him to put all of his artwork, original copies, in Cooperstown. So if you go to Cooperstown, you can check out his artwork as well. And he will be at the All-Star Game in Cleveland. It's going to be his 6th All-Star Game. And he also has a series, I see up the graphic you guys have up, of the Ballpark Princesses. And this is another one of his great initiatives. And I love this so much for so many reasons. So he does this kind of like a scavenger hunt, the way Shaq does, where he'll be like, I'm on the corner here, come find me, get tickets, something. So he will be sitting in a certain section at a ballpark all over, and he'll just pick one, he'll travel, he'll sit in the stands, and he'll give out on Twitter, on social media, he'll put out a couple hints as to where he is. And if you can find him, he'll be sitting in the stands and he'll be rendering an original piece of the Ballpark Princess artwork, where he basically takes your favorite Disney princesses, whether it be Belle, Jasmine from Aladdin, Ariel from The Little Mermaid,
my
Cinderella. Who's your favorite?
Little Mermaid.
Little Mermaid. Oh, see, you love Ariel. See, I'm a Belle girl myself. I'm a Belle girl. But he will take a Disney princess and he will put her in a jersey of the team of whose ballpark you are at. And he'll kind of put his own spin on it, and then whoever finds him gets the copy. And he did this as a way to give back. He does it for free, and he did it because it really appealed to the young ladies who would come to ball games, either with their families or their dads, and he wanted to give them something other than, and I love this, something other than just a pink jersey to look forward to at the ballpark. So
I love it. I think it's a great way to connect the female fans, young girls, to baseball, because they can like both. They can like princesses and baseball at the same time.
Absolutely. And it's awesome. And the fact that he is licensed by MLB, and then a couple of years ago was given the right by the MLB Players Association, is such an honor to depict the names and the numbers of these guys. And like I mentioned, these are all voted on by the fans. So these are who the fans want to see. And when I asked him about this year's batch of the 4 Latino guys, he said he was actually surprised that that Javi Baez was requested over the likes of Rizzo and Bryant by Cubs fans. But he said it was a landslide. He said that there was like no contest whatsoever.
Wow.
And he said one of his biggest fan bases is in Minnesota, and he said pretty much every request was for Berrios. And as far as the collecting, because I asked him if any of the guys collect his art, he said a lot of the players' wives collect his Ballpark Princess art. Mm-hmm. And he mentioned Altuve's wife happens to be the biggest Disney fan ever. And he was actually doing some commercials for Disney World. And he said he would always laugh when he would see them because he knew what a huge fan Nina was. And she owns one of his Cinderella prints. In an Astros jersey. And so he's just been giving back to the fans in such an amazing way. And to me, this is one of the best gifts you could ever get a huge fan, because this is something that you've never seen before. Like if you're a huge baseball fan, and his artwork, he also does hockey, he does basketball, he doesn't just do baseball. To me, his baseball artwork is by far the best, but it's just such an amazing way to honor the players, the ballparks. And he also has a classic ballpark series as well, which I got from my father because he's a Brooklyn Dodgers fan. So I got him the Ebbets Field minimalist ballpark, classic ballpark rendering and print rather, and it's awesome. So talented.
Let me see. Hold on one second. I want to show everyone a couple more of his artwork because it really is. It's minimal, but like you said, it really would make for a great gift for any fan.
I pulled up a couple that you requested that you wanted to check out of his other, because like I said, he does all 30 ballparks, and they're so creative, and it's one of those things where you see it and you're like, oh yeah, of course, that's like the one iconic bit, and then he also did for PNC, he did what was the 6th Street Bridge, then of course became the Roberto Clemente Bridge. And he had a quote about that, because I asked him about that one in particular. And he said, I'm just going to read this quote from S. Preston. He said, "I'm on team #retire21. We're so quick to celebrate the players that create headlines. It's not only that Clemente broke the Latino barrier, but his humanitarian work as well. Like Jackie, we need to lift some people up above the rest. And for us, Roberto Clemente deserves that. And if I ever get a chance to license a piece with Clemente's number on my Forbes Fields art, I would jump at the chance."
That would be amazing. And for him to be as proactive with this, it's really cool. And it's really cool to see. I love his art. I love the drawings. And I'm especially now a fan of the Disney princesses.
Right. I think you might need to get one.
I may.
What jersey would you do?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'd have to decide between. I might do a La Vida baseball jersey.
Good answer.
Just to be fair, I think I might do a La Vida baseball, because that's kind of hard to think. I think I'd do a La Vida baseball. Which would you do?
Well, I have one. I actually interviewed him in the stands at Petco. He was at a game and he tweeted out that he was going to be there. And I was like, depending on the flow of the game, maybe I could go meet you in the stands and we could get just a quick on-camera interview. And we did. I found him and he was doing his art. He was drawing and sketching, and fans were there. They were super excited to see him. And so he gave me I believe it was an Ariel in a Padres jersey. And I believe she had the mic. So it was nice. It was really cool. Nice. It was really cute.
I would want something like that. Yes, that would be cool. I may have to commission something similar.
Yeah.
Very similar. All right, so that's great. So everybody go follow him, S. Preston Designs on Instagram, and then sprestondesigns.com. And you're able to see his artwork and purchase it there. So shout out to S. Preston for his really wonderful artwork. Moving right along, it's time for Frío-o-Caliente. Hot or cold. And we're going to decide who's hot and who's not. At least in this past week. Or what's hot and what's not. At least in this past week. And let's get it started right now with Fran Reyes. Frío-o-Caliente, Julie.
Caliente, mami. Oh my goodness. So this is going back to actually Wednesday last week. So after a 2-week home run drought, he hit the go-ahead home run, 3-run homer in the 7th, taking San Diego back to playing over 500 ball. They beat the Brewers. They actually completed the sweep of the Brewers, and he made history by hitting his 20th home run on the season. He and outfielder Hunter Renfroe together are the first Padres in history to amass 20 home runs before the All-Star break. So he has yet to hit another homer this week, but update on him, he actually just signed with the Boris Corporation earlier today. Or at least that's what MLB Trade Rumors is saying.
When you hear that name, you know what that means.
It means talent. We're going to call it talent.
Yep. That's exactly what I call it.
Yeah. That's
good
major.
For him. That is major and good for him. And he has been having a really great year. He's been a great asset to the team as well.
Absolutely. He's hitting 244, 20 home runs before the All-Star break. I mean, it's amazing that we're almost at the All-Star break. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, no, it is. The year, time flies by like, so fast. I just remember opening day, and now we're already at the All-Star game. Pretty soon it's going to be postseason, and I'm looking forward to the postseason, and then again, I'm not, because then that means it's cold weather.
That's right. You guys haven't even gotten summer yet, right?
Yesterday and today, actually. Today so far, I haven't been outside yet, but this morning it was warm, it was hot, and so I'm not complaining. I will never complain about the heat after the longest, I would say, winter I've experienced thus far this year. But back to Frío-o-Caliente, Gabe, take my screen. Here we've got Mr. Albert Pujols. Let me know. Frío-o-Caliente.
Caliente. I mean, put this man in the hall already, people, please. Last week, he made his return to St. Louis for the first time since 2011, and that entire homecoming series, I just want to say, you know, when you go to St. Louis, the fans will be really quick to tell you that they are the best fans in baseball. And you know what? This weekend, y'all earned it. You earned it, St. Louis. You earned it with the reception.
I agree.
The standing ovation, the curtain call, his warm reception. I mean, he did so much for that city, for that team. They welcomed him with open arms, and it was really beautiful to watch. It was emotional, his being reunited with Yadi, the switching of the jerseys. And then I'm sure, I mean, the video went viral when he saw that little boy in the stands.
Oh, yes,
during BP.
Yes. Oh,
I'm sure you guys covered it. Oh my God, I get chills just thinking, like, little boy with, for those who may not have seen it, although it's impossible not to know what happened because the video, like I said, went viral, but like this little boy with Down syndrome who absolutely loves Albert Pujols. He's his favorite player. He's obsessed with him. He knows everything about him, all of his stats. And he was sitting there during BP and he had a pen and he just wanted an autograph. And Albert pointed to him and said, you know, hang on a minute, just wait. He got done with BP. He came over, took the jersey off his back, signed it for the little boy and gave it to him and took all the photos and chatted with him for a little bit with him and his mom. I mean, just amazing. And you know that this is a cause that's very near and dear to his heart with his children's foundation and his personal experience, and just absolutely a wonderful moment. So give it
and
up.
That is signature Pujols. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that you will see on a regular basis from Albert. I mean, he's obviously one of the greatest players of all time, future Hall of Famer, but he's an even bigger Hall of Famer, I would say, outside of the field with what he does through his foundation, what he does through the aspect of children with Down syndrome. He holds a prom every year for kids with Down syndrome, which is honestly one of like the coolest things ever. The fact that he dedicates his time because he knows that these kids need. Well, I'll say this: kids with Down syndrome are so loving and emotive that for him to embrace himself in that and show other people, you know, that these kids need love and to just embrace it. I love it. I love everything that he does, and he is definitely on fire, caliente for this one. I love Albert. Now, let's go to this next one, because I'd love to hear what you got to say about Mickey Callaway. Frío-o-Caliente.
Frío. This also got a lot of negative press. Mickey Callaway, manager of the Mets, pretty much had a full-on meltdown. He's an adult who lost control and basically lost it on a journalist. And just to give people a feel of what it's like, you know, when you're a journalist, when you're a reporter and you are in the clubhouse is not an inviting place to be. It's not. You know already that you are on the player's turf. Literally, you are in their territory. you are basically invading their space. And some players will make you feel that, others will make you feel a lot more welcome. A lot of it depends on how good the team is doing at the time. And of course, the Mets have had their share of struggles. You know, I mean, the clubhouse can be a very jovial place. It can be a very warm and accepting and fun place, but it can be a very cold, intimidating, and hostile place as well. And Mickey Callaway made it just that this past week. He lashed out at a journalist, I think, unprovoked. The journalist just said, "We'll see you tomorrow."
See you tomorrow.
He lost it. Yeah. And he laid out a slew of expletives. And it's just bad conduct. And then, of course, Jason Vargas came to his defense. And, of course, you know, you've got that team mentality, and he threatened as well. And it's just not professional. And for a team that has already been plagued by so much drama between the front office and the play out on the field. And I know Mickey Callaway's been under a lot of stress and a lot of people just sort of questioning his moves, especially with the way he manages the bullpen. Listen, when you're playing at this level, when you're a major league manager, when you're a major league coach, when you are a major league player, that's part of the job, in my opinion. That's part of the job. As a journalist, it is not part of the job to be treated in a hostile and a combative way, because that doesn't make it safe for anyone. So that's just my opinion on the situation. No,
and you're right. It was unprofessional, and it was really uncalled for. I understand that he's going through a very stressful time, Mickey. And I understand that he's probably going through some desperation and not knowing what is really going to happen with his career. Is he going to continue to be a manager? Is he not? Is it like, what's going to happen? But it is not an excuse to take it out on anyone, really, but on a journalist who didn't say anything to really instigate anything, right? The question that he had asked during the interview was, he was questioning, the call that he made or didn't make to the bullpen. It's a good question. It's a question that many people had watching that game. Yeah. It's a question that needed to be answered, or if he didn't want to answer it, he could have just moved on, but he responded in a combative way and then took issue to just him saying, "See you tomorrow," which kind of surprised me, but I mean, it is what it is. They did apologize, and I believe they were both fined, not suspended, but both fined by the $10,000. Yes.
Which, when you think about it, I don't know. Do you think that punishment fits the crime, though? Like, $10,000 is a drop in the bucket for these guys.
Yeah, I don't think it's as far as the amount of money, I don't think it's a big deal. I'm surprised that they weren't maybe not Mickey, because he didn't actually try to physically harm him, but I'm surprised that Jason wasn't suspended, even if just one game. It's difficult to say what really would be best punishment. I don't know what the guidelines are when it comes to Major League Baseball and what they have for that, but $10,000 is but the public shaming that they're getting may be punishment enough, because now he's super embarrassed, right?
As he should be, absolutely. And the other thing to consider here is that you're playing in New York.
Yeah.
You're playing in New York. And not to say that if this would have happened at a smaller market team, that it wouldn't have gotten so much attention and been covered. But that is one thing, you know, when you sign up for this job, if you are going to play in a large market, especially in New York, your every move is going to be criticized. Your every move, you know, his call or not to call to the bullpen is going to be criticized. So you know that when you sign up for it. And to me, the fact that, you know, he's getting all riled up and his feathers are getting ruffled by a reporter who's asking a very logical question in the biggest market in baseball, arguably, that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
And we all know that managing from home or managing in your seats is much easier than actually managing from the dugout. But that could have been his response, right? That it could have been, you know, it was in the moment. I felt my gut, whatever it was, not Oh, because you think so? That was his
Right.
response.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you really shouldn't. I mean, you shouldn't talk like that to
Yeah.
people. Period. I mean, there's a certain level of respect that's expected.
Mm-hmm.
He was obviously not in a very good mood, which I understand. And again, I understand it. But at this point, we're adults, and you just gotta know how to handle your emotions. And just like you said, being in New York, you gotta be able to take the heat.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
And
just it.
that goes for players, that goes for management, that goes for front office, that goes, if you are in any way tied to a professional team in a large market, that it goes without saying.
Yeah, and I know some people will say, "Oh, the boys will be boys," quote, and men and testosterone and all that. But why don't other players react in that same fashion when they're presented in with a similar situation? Yes, boys will be boys, but those aren't boys; those are men.
Right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
That's just what I'm saying.
I agree
All
with
right.
you.
Moving right along, back to Frío-o-Caliente. Wilkin Castillo, he's my choice for Caliente. He made his return to Major League Baseball after 10 years and had on his return, had the winning hit for the Marlins. And I am so happy for him. He has been through the minor league system, playing in the Independent League, Atlantic League, playing in Mexico. He plays in the Dominican Republic, Florida Escogido. So he's really been grinding, and for him to stick with it, to wait for that moment, to think, he's going to be called back. I think that's just fuego. Es caliente.
Absolutely. That shows an incredible amount of resilience. I mean, how many times how many times must he have asked himself, like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Going back to the field and just not being able to taste the majors. I mean, that's really, really tough. That shows some serious work ethic and resilience as well. That's incredible.
And I mean, minor league life is not easy. It is not this glamorous, like Major League Baseball is it's just on a completely different level from the minors. When you are traveling on a minor league team, you're traveling on buses. It's a lot of long bus rides. It's a lot of, waiting around. It's a lot. It's not easy. Sometimes a lot of guys live, especially with the rookies and the younger guys, a lot of guys living to one apartment. It's not easy. It's not an easy lifestyle to have. So for him to continue with that for 10 years, wow, props to you, and congratulations. And really shout out to the Marlins for seeing, something in him to bring him up and say, you know what, let's give you another shot. And that's what he did. So shout out to Wilkin Castillo. We're proud of you, man. Now, somebody, let's go to Frío-o-Caliente. Yankees. To me, man, they are on fire. The Yankees, having gone through most of the season thus far without their star players, and to be in the position where they are in still and continue to compete. And I mean, now you've got Stanton back, you've got Judge back, and they've got Encarnacion, Gary Sanchez. The lineup is just back to back bombs. And I just think that the Yankees have a really, really good chance of making it to the postseason.
What about their pitching, though? That's like the one question mark.
And it's been a
ace?
question. Yes. Yeah. I agree, and I thought it was something that they were going to deal with during the trades and stuff, but I don't know. I mean, I think, and we were talking about this earlier, how cool would it be to see a Dodgers-Yankees World Series?
I mean, that's always the question, right? Like last year, Dodgers, Red Sox, that was still a little East Coast, West Coast, but it just missed the mark just a little bit it just missed the mark because Boston, I love you, but it's not New York. So like, if you're going to do the East Coast, West Coast thing, it has to be New York and LA. It just has to. It has to. I mean, that would be incredible.
At one point in time, it just has to happen for our generation, because people have just been waiting for something like that. So that's why I would hope that maybe that could happen. I know Major League Baseball would love for that to happen. Yankees and Dodgers. What?
The advertising alone would love it.
The marketing, that's what I said. It's a marketing person's dream. PR dream to have Yankees and Dodgers in a World Series. Who's your pick right now? Do you have a pick?
For matchup for a World Series?
Yeah.
I'll go with Dodgers. I'll go with Dodgers for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
God, you know what? Let's just put it out into the ether. Let's put that energy out there. I'm going to say Yankees. You heard it here first. Let's put that out there.
Let's put it out there. Yankees, Dodgers in the postseason. I mean, in the World Series.
Amazing. Yeah, that would
Dodgers in the World Series. All right.
Yankees, Dodgers, some coast-to-coast October baseball would be beautiful.
Awesome. Now, moving on from Frío-o-Caliente, you had a chance to speak with Alanna Rizzo, who we spoke about last week as one of the female Latinas in Major League Baseball. I want to show a clip from that interview. Gabe, if you can pull it up, and let's roll it.
And I got what I thought at the time was my dream job. I got to come home, and home for me is Colorado, and I was able to get a job in Denver, and that's where my love for baseball started, because I got the job covering the Rockies, and I was ultimately there for 5 seasons. And again, when I started covering the Rockies, I didn't even know what a sinker ball was. And Aaron Cook was their ace of the staff, and he's a sinker ball pitcher, and I'm like, I better figure out what this is. And you know what? Thankfully, they took a chance on me. Mm-hmm. And I was there for 5 seasons, and then I went to MLB Network, and I went to market number 1, and then I covered the Dodgers, ironically, in the postseason my first 2 years at MLB Network, and then the Dodgers launched their network, and it was just, I wanted to get back with the team. I missed being at the field. Mm-hmm. It's a very long-winded story to your question of how I got started, and I'm about to start my 5th season in LA, which is hard to believe.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's hard to believe.
You started your first job in baseball with the Rockies. You did not know what a sinker ball was. So do you feel that women in this industry are put under a tremendous amount of scrutiny, more so than being a male starting out?
I think so. And I think there's a reason for that, because we didn't play the sport. And I think one of the biggest things that I would impart on young people, not just young women in this industry, but young people, is don't be afraid to ask questions. Because I think as a woman doing this, you're automatically feeling that people don't think you know what you're talking about. And I think it's the onus is upon us to do the homework and be prepared. And I could have easily not tried to figure out what a sinker ball pitcher was and just, not cared about the position. But I was adamant about prep and asking questions and talking to the people, my cohorts in the broadcast booth with me that played the game. I'm never going to know more than at the time Jeff Houston or George Frazier. I didn't play. I would say that as a man too. Even if I was a man and I didn't play, they're always going to know more than me, just based on their own experiences. So why wouldn't I tap into those resources and try to learn more? But again, I think it's incumbent upon the person, the individual, especially if you're a woman trying to do this. You have to be doubly as prepared as your male counterparts, because you're immediately going to have the stereotype that you don't know what you're talking about. So don't prove them right. Make sure you do know what you're talking about.
Yep. You've got to be doubly, sometimes triple prepared to know, to work in this industry, because you got to know what you're talking about. I mean, and that goes for everything. But us as females in the industry, it's a little harder. You got to go that extra mile.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she is absolutely incredible at what she does, and I just respect her work so much. And she was incredibly gracious to give me that interview. We taped that just before spring training, 2018. So she was just coming off the 2017 Dodgers World Series win. And I caught her about a week before she was to go out to Arizona to start spring training all over again. I mean, she works so hard and she works so much because that team is so prolific. And the fact that she does, all of her homework and all of spring training in addition to 162 plus a postseason the past few years. I mean, that is a lot of baseball. And she is so prepared every single game. Her interviews, the fact that she does them, bilingual, Spanish and English, she translates the interviews herself. Just really beautiful to watch. She's just one of the best in the business. So thank you, Alanna, for sharing that.
And you can speak to this as far as what it's like working for a team during the season. I've always said I don't think I could ever work for a Major League Baseball team because of the schedule. It's insane. So what is that like?
Relentless. It's a lot harder if the team is losing. I unfortunately have not had the pleasure to work for a team who really went on a tear or was wildly successful in the seasons that I was privy to or that I worked with them. But it is being creative. It's coming up with storylines and things to talk about. And if you're on, I would say, day 4 of a 4-game losing streak, it's tough. It's tough. Spring training is tough. I only had to do 10 spring training games when I was with the Padres. So luckily that was actually really fun because there was lots to talk about. And that's when you have the most access with the players. For a fan as well, you go to a spring training game, you could talk to the guys, get stuff signed. You have access. Same thing for us. So spring training was always something I looked forward to because you got to bank so many interviews and you got so much time. And it was really before the season started. So before the emotions get built up, before injuries get built up, before stuff goes down. So spring training is kind of like that golden time. And then you have the behemoth of the season and it's a beast, man. It's a beast. The travel alone will kill you. The travel alone is so much. And when you get to whatever city you're in, if your flight isn't delayed, if there wasn't a weather delay, you get to the city, you check into the hotel, which is a process in itself because you've got like 50 people, because you've got the team, but then you've got all of the personnel who comes along with that. Everything from the radio broadcast, the TV broadcast, the directors, producers, the trainers, the coaches, the staff. And everyone gets checked into the hotel, and then you got to wait for your luggage to be delivered. And a lot of times you can't go to sleep because you needed stuff in your luggage to do your homework for the next day game. So it's a lot, and a lot goes into it. And I think it's glamorized, and people say, "Oh, I want to do what you're doing," and you must have the best job in the world. And what you see, and to just echo what Alanna said, what you see is just such a small sliver of what really goes into it. The homework, the travel, the life on the road, the loneliness. I mean, it's a lonely life on the road. It's really hard. And that was one of the reasons that I thought it was time to get out of that, because I just couldn't do it anymore. And if I ever knew that and this is just a personal note for myself, that if I ever wanted any sort of semblance of a family of my own, I had to get off the road. Some women can do it. Someone can definitely do it. Jenny Kavnar, who I respect very much, who is the sideline reporter and also does play-by-play for the Colorado Rockies. She's phenomenal. She's figured it out, but she's figured out that work-life balance of having a family. But for me, I knew it was time to get out after my last season. I was just, it was too much. But I commend all of the female reporters and the male reporters, because it's tough on guys too, who are out there toiling every single day in the heat. And the other thing, by the way, I just want to mention this. Mm-hmm. In the camera wells where we sit, there's no shade. So like, think of the hottest day.
Yes, I know.
Right? The sun
and you're
beating
just
down.
dripping in sweat.
Dripping in sweat. Last play of the game, you go out onto the field to get the interview and you got to look cute, but like you're sweating. and your eyelashes coming off. And like, it's like a whole thing. At least the beat reporters, the journalists, they get to sit up in the press booth, so they have air conditioning sometimes, depending on what ballpark you're at. Or they have open windows so they get a breeze, but they have shade, most importantly. For us, the on-field reporters, there's no shade. And a lot of times there's no fans down there either. So you either have to travel with an umbrella, which I think Alanna actually does that. Travel with an umbrella or ask for an umbrella, or try to seek some shelter, because it's rough. It's a lot less glamorous than you think.
No, I can only imagine. And then something that I wanted to touch on that you touched on, as far as being a woman and a man, the difference between a woman and a man, right? It is very difficult for either sex to work in this business, but it's almost accepted for men to be selfish when it comes to their careers. They're able to put, the wife is going to take care of the kids and handle the family, take care of the family while I go and work. But when women make those choices, sometimes they're looked down upon. Then they're saying, oh, that's very selfish of you to do, or blah blah blah. And I think it's a total opposite. I think for you to be able to go out there, work like you guys do, and especially the women who have been working for teams, it is the most unselfish thing that you can do, because that your child is at home waiting for you, or your family, or your spouse, boyfriend, whatever, significant other. But you have a dream, right? You want to do what you were meant to do, right? Your purpose, because that's why you do what you do. So when people say, oh, you're so selfish, especially to women, I say no, they're not. They're allowed to do whatever it is that they feel is best for them and their family, just like you found the point in your career where you said, okay, that's it. I'm good. It's time for me, and I'm going to move on. But there's nothing wrong with staying and being able to find the magic and make it work. So props to everyone, and not just women in sports, but women who do it all in all fields of work.
Absolutely. And it's unfortunate that it's not received as well as it would be, as you said, if it was a man who is making the choice to be on the road and to, be away from his family because he's making a living. And I agree with you. It is incredibly unselfish if a woman decides that, maybe the family life thing, that hustle, it ain't for me. I'm going to live my dream. I'm going to follow this team, or I'm going to go back to work, or I'm going to, continue on my career path and do what fits me. And that, to me, is incredibly unselfish. Absolutely.
100%. Love this conversation, because you know what? There's a lot of us out there. And I love that we're able to highlight a couple of women. I think every episode we're going to continue to do this. If those at home who are watching have any ideas of who you want us to highlight, let us know. DM us, send us a message, put it in the comments, and we'll look into it, because there's a lot of us out there. So, and it's always a really great thing to support one another. It's one of the things that needs to continue to happen, is to support one another in this industry.
Absolutely. And I think those stories are so important to tell, because there really is no one recipe in how to get into sports. I get inboxed all the time by young women, older women, saying, how do I get to do what you do? How do I get to break into sports? And there really is no one way. Everyone kind of finds their path in a different way. And a lot of it has to do with creating sort of your own reality, creating your own content. So I'm going to post that entire interview. It's actually a 26-minute interview with Alanna Rizzo. So I will post that interview in its entirety on my YouTube page. So if anyone has any further questions or wants to really hear her full story, you can hear that, because it's definitely worth listening to. Her story is pretty incredible.
Awesome. So we'll make sure to forward that along to our fans as well, so that they can watch that full interview with Alanna. Now let's go to the polls. Yes. We've got some really fun polls for you guys today on Vida Baseball on Twitter. Gabe, if you can take my computer, let's go to the first one, which says, if you caught a foul ball from your favorite player, what would you do? If other, tell us in the comments. So A was keep it to yourself. B, give it to a kid nearby. C, put it on social media or other. And so it's pretty much neck and neck between give it to a kid or keep it for yourself. I myself would give it to a kid. I think that's what I would do. I've seen baseballs for such a long time.
She's like, what's another one?
What's another one? Yeah, kind of thing. I know that if there is a kid nearby, that's probably what I would do. Some people in the comments say, give it to my 15-year-old son. I'd keep it for myself, unless there's a kid who was trying to get one. Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah. What would you do?
So, honest answer. Before I had a baby, I would have kept it for myself. Sorry, kid. Now that I have a kid, I'm like, oh, I got to give it to the kid. I feel bad. So now, like, I totally would do. And now I get, like, all riled up. Like, did you see at the, I think it was an Ohio State game. It was a college ball game. And a ball goes into the stands. And this like, dad bod dude, like, runs after it. And this, like, 6-year-old kid's like also trying to grab it, or 12-year-old kid, and he takes it away from him, and I was like, what?
Are you serious?
Like,
yeah.
I got all upset, and I'm like, really, dude? Did you really need that from a college game? Like, really? And I got like all emotional about it because I wanted the kid to have it. And of course, later, I think the team gave the kid like a bat or something as a consolation prize. But in the moment, I got very heated. But I also have a really funny story that I want to share about catching a foul ball.
Oh, yes.
It's totally random, but this is like one of my favorite, like all-time favorite dating stories back when Julie was a single chick. So this is a true story, by the way. I was living in New York. I was on a date with a guy. My phone buzzes, and obviously it wasn't that good of a date because I was checking my phone, but it was my brother, and he was at the Mets game, and he's like, oh, I just caught a foul ball off Marlon Byrd. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. And so the guy I was on a date with was like, oh, what happened? I'm like, oh, my brother's at the Mets game and caught a foul ball off Marlon Byrd. And he goes, what's a Marlon Byrd?
What? So at that point you knew, okay, date is over.
And scene. And we're done.
And scene. What is a Marlon Byrd? Wow. What is... That is really funny. That's, yeah.
To be fair, the guy was like a very high profile like art dealer. So like he was not a sports guy at all.
But that's really funny.
That story, like,
I mean, at least you found out early that he was not going to be the one.
I mean, it was a first date, no harm, no foul.
Exactly.
No pun intended.
Literally.
But that's my story about catching foul balls.
It's all good. It was all meant to be. That's all we'll say. It was all meant to be. So, another foul ball poll question that we have on the site. If a foul ball came your way in the stands, would you jump out of the way? Reach or die for it. Save your nachos. Or other. And most people said they would reach or die for it. I myself would jump out of the way because I'm not trying to get hit by a ball. No. They hurt. Especially if I don't have a glove. Yeah, I'm not trying. I'm ducking. I'm like, where's the ball? Not gonna happen. Are you the type to want to catch it and go for it, or would you? Yeah.
Oh no. And I've had so many close calls. I don't know about you, but I've had a lot of close calls. A few, more than I'd like to admit, where I've been doing a hit and my back is to the field. And which is bad. But every now and then your producer's going to be like, oh, this shot's really great. And every time I do it, it's always like, it's like turning your back to the ocean. Like you never want to do it because you don't know what's going on behind your back. And so you turn your back to the field for 1 second. And I mean, I've heard, the wind, the whoosh of the ball. And I think the closest call happened on the Green Monster. I was filming an episode of Mets Weekly and we were at Fenway, and I was up on the Green Monster, and it was during BP, and a ball just grazed just grazed right by, and we caught it on tape, and I was like, I never want to see that again. So yeah, no, I would duck out of the way for sure.
Ooh,
For sure.
yeah,
I'm no
I
hero.
had a close call, and it was during I think it was spring training. It was spring training, and I was actually I was sitting in the stands, and I was talking to the person. So it was like three of us, and so first I was talking this way, and then somebody tapped me on the shoulder, and so I turned around, and had I not turned around in that specific second, I just went like this. When I went like this, the ball came right there, like just like right, and I was just like, and like you said, I felt the wind. I felt, and I was just like, if I had not, I was like, just thank you for tapping me on the shoulder because you probably saved my face. And yeah, so it can be very, very scary. Now moving on to our final poll question. This is one that I love. If you could eat at one ballpark for an entire month, which one would you choose? If not mentioned, tell us in the comments. So Dodger Stadium, Busch Stadium, Oracle Park, or Marlins Park. See, I think I've never eaten at Marlins Park. So I think after reading the list of foods that they have there, I would choose Marlins Park out of the ones that are available here. What about you?
I do like the food at Marlins Park, and shout out to Adam, who works with the sound guys for the home team. He makes the best Cuban coffee. If you ever do a game there, he will bring you a Cuban coffee. He makes it in the little like lunch area for the crew. It's incredible. Best Cuban coffee you ever had. Adam, the sound guy, you rock. For me personally, I'd probably want to eat at Petco, man. I don't know. I want to eat at Petco. I'll tell you, if you don't want to gain a lot of weight, you should eat at Oracle. They're very healthy up there.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know.
Very healthy.
That's good to know. So, and that brings me to our next topic about places to eat at the ballpark. First place that I've got on the list, Citi Field. They've got a good option of Latino food. Here we have some churros. Who does not love churros? I mean, seriously. And this is from Dulcinea at Citi Field. I want to go and I want to have some. And then there's also El Verano Taqueria, so that's where you can get the tacos, nachos.
That's my favorite spot there.
And it's right behind center field, across from Shake Shack. Mm-hmm. That's the spot to go if you're looking for tacos at Citi Field. Then for me, actually one of my favorite stadium foods would be Yankee Stadium, and they have the Bear Burger option. So the Bear Burger is meatless, the meatless option, and this one, the Guadalupe, that's on the left with the avocado. So that one is actually a veggie burger. And let me tell you, it is one of the best burgers you will ever have at a ballpark. It is so good. And it's called the Guadalupe. So it's a shout out, to our Latinos out there. But then they've got El Matador. That's another Latin culture, Latin infusion, a lot of, the tomato salsa there. But out of the two, honestly, because I was able to try both of them, my favorite was the Guadalupe. Have you had food at Yankee Stadium, Julie?
No, I haven't. I have not. I've never eaten there. I've only been once to the new Yankee Stadium. I love how they call it the new Yankee Stadium. I've only been once, actually, and I've never eaten there. Although, you know what? No, that's not true. I've eaten there as a fan. Okay. I've eaten there as a fan, but gosh, it was so long ago. I think I ate in the, down, they have the Lexus Club, or the premium seats down there where you have the restaurant. I like that. I mean, it's one of those all-you-can-eat, gorge fests where they do, the different stations. You almost feel like you're at a wedding. Like the cocktail hour at a wedding, and they have the different stations. They have the meat cutting station. They have the chips and salsa station. They have a whole thing. So I probably ate my face off over there, but nothing that incredible. I thought it was pretty much standard, ballpark, elevated standard ballpark fare. But it was very good. It was very good.
They also do have a dulce de leche shake, which is really good. Yeah, and if you like dulce de leche, or tres leche. Yeah, that's what it was. It was a tres leche shake.
Leche. So good.
Really, really good. And I will say this also. The Yankees, I think, and I mean, I haven't visited every ballpark, but thus far, one of the best press lounges. Food available to the media there is A1. Really good. They won't let you down. And it's pretty similar to like the premium seats food that they give. There's a lot of options. There's a whole sweets table, like if you're at a wedding. And I'm like, whenever I ever feel like I'm on a diet, I'm like, damn it, I can't go in there because the sweets kill me. And yeah, I'm like, yeah, let me just not walk by there because it's right next to the salad bar too. So it's like it's really contradictory. Should I take the salad or should I take the brownie? That brownie kind of. And I'm just like, no, let me just walk out of here. So you mentioned Petco Park. Gabe, you gotta grab my screen real quick. They've got Carnitas Snack Shack, and these tacos look amazing. I want to have each and every one of them.
Girl, let me tell you, there is nothing better than some street tacos. And street tacos are different than what you would say, what your idea of like a regular taco. Street tacos, the tortilla is just a little bit smaller. It's usually handmade corn tortilla. None of this flour stuff, come on. Handmade corn tortilla. And then you've just got a little bit, it's just very simple. You've just got a little bit of meat, a little bit of cheese, whether it be the carne asada or the pollo or carnitas, and then, with a little bit of avocado and onions and a little bit of pico de gallo, and it is absolute perfection. And with all the cross-border influence at Petco, you've got they really, really do it right. So props to the food at Petco Park.
All right, yeah, so that's definitely one of the places that I'm going to have to go and check out. And another place that you had mentioned to me was Marlins Park. So this is a quesadilla burger that we're looking at, and it's from a spot called Pincho in Marlins Park. That looks really good, and it looks good. So I think it's two quesadillas. So yeah, it's one on top and one at the bottom. So that's the bun. That looks really, really good. Actually,
so good. Like, does it get any better? Like meat and cheese, just bring it on. Like meat and cheese is just like the best combination ever, in my opinion.
No, you're right. Meat and cheese. So that's a couple of our favorite places. If you guys have any favorite places that you want to eat at or that you like to eat, or any suggestions for where to find the best Latin food at the ballpark, let us know. I have been told, and I haven't really had a chance to eat here at Comiskey Park, but they say that the White Sox have really, really good food. I think there's elote too. I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So that's kind of one of the ballparks that I want to try. Wrigley, it's like typical ballpark. Yeah, it's like I think they could up their game. Yeah, I think they could up their game on.
I mean, ballpark food is getting so sophisticated, right? Like, do you remember when they first started selling sushi at the ballpark, and it was like, oh, sushi at the ballpark? Like, it was this like revelation. Like, it was this big deal. And now it's like it's gone so much further than that. But I don't know, where do you stand on sushi at the ballpark? Are you a sushi at the ballpark fan?
I don't eat sushi.
Okay.
I'm allergic to shellfish. So I'm always I stay away, and I don't know. If I did eat it, maybe, but I feel like that's almost. I guess it depends on the grade, of the fish and all that, because I know that's important when it comes to sushi.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's almost like when people buy sushi at a 7-Eleven. Do you really?
Oh no! You went there.
I'm just saying. I'm saying this because I've never tried it, but it's kind of the impression that I get. Like, you really go to a ballpark to eat sushi?
Well, because it doesn't belong. Sushi doesn't belong at a 7-Eleven, just like it doesn't belong at a ballpark. To me, I don't know. I don't think, like, when I go to a ballpark, I don't want sushi. Unless it's super, super hot, then maybe I don't want all of that, like meat
And I
and
guess
cheese
that
and
they're
stuff,
doing
but-
that, to offer a variety of options to the fans. And the Yankees have like a salad bar that, people are able to get salads because not everyone eats, burgers and pizza and hot dogs. So I get it. I wouldn't personally have sushi at the ballpark. if I ate it, I wouldn't. But New York, so there's this place called Mama Sushi that does a fusion of what sushi is and Latin food. Those sushis I do eat, and it's usually like some chicharrón de pollo with fried cheese, a plantain, or something like that.
Yeah.
All in like a sushi. So those I do eat. If that was at the ballpark, I think I might try those.
Did you ever go to Asia de Cuba in New York?
No, but it's very similar to Mama Sushi.
Yeah.
So Mama Sushi is up in the Heights on Dykeman, and actually they've got a couple of places now. But yes, I know exactly what you're talking about, and they're very, very
So
similar.
good.
Yes,
So
good. And I can't believe our hour is done.
Oh, I have so much more food stuff to talk to you about, though. Maybe we have to bring back the food segment next week. I don't know.
Oh, of course.
We have a lot more to talk about with the food, I feel like.
Of course. You know how many stadiums there are?
I
There's so
know.
much. We may have to talk about it once a show, like at least 10 or 15 minutes, because I could talk about food all day.
Same.
Julie, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Had a blast for this hour, and looking forward to see you next week.
Sounds good. We'll see you then.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.